Fala pessoal, no vídeo de hoje temos um papo muito especial com uma das engrenagens fundamentais do atual momento do Evergrey. Eles vão vir ao Brasil para o Bangers Open Air, como também teremos alguns side shows da banda no Brasil. E é uma das bandas mais aguardadas do line-up, consolidando uma história que começou lá atrás, como banda de abertura, e hoje os coloca como headliners e referência do metal progressivo mundial. Eu conversei com o baterista Simen Sandnes sobre o novo álbum Theories of Emptiness e como é manter viva a identidade emocional e melancólica da banda, equilibrando o peso dos clássicos com o sangue novo que ele trouxe para o grupo. Como o Evergrey consegue transformar o vazio e a dor em algo belo e catártico, mesmo com o público brasileiro que é tão sangue quente e coração, né? Confira agora esse bate-papo exclusivo aí e aproveitem aí para clicar aí no like e curtir essa entrevista que é muito especial para este que vos fala. Valeu! How are you doing, Simen?
Very, very good. Thank you. It's been busy the last couple of weeks, music videos, press, all of that stuff, but it's been very, very fun and very rewarding. And I'm doing very good.
So, Tom did throw you to the wolves.
Perfect. I need it. I need it. It can't only be him, It's
Yeah.
it's a bit too much for one person to sit in interviews all day.
You
So I'm
know,
I'm glad I could do it.
you know that Evergrey, that the first time I've ever seen Evergrey was when they first came to Brazil, when they were promoting Recreation Day,
Oh wow. That is a long
with
time ago.
with Pain of Salvation. And
Wow.
a curious thing about that day is when their show ended, they got to the doors from the venue and waited for every fan that got out, and they said thank you for being there for every fan that went to
Wow.
that show.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's interesting that you have such a humble band that today is such a one of the biggest progressive metal bands from Sweden. Um,
yes.
and and today you guys are on a festival in São Paulo, and it is like super. It's blowing my mind right now.
That's fantastic. I mean, when we toured Latin America last year in Brazil and stuff, we had after the shows we had meet and greets, and we sat there, signed every CD, took pictures with everyone who wanted. It's when we were first there, we got to make the most of it for the fans, and saying it's our way of saying, that we appreciate that people come to watch us and support us. I mean, we can't be there too many times. It's hard to get over, and planning tours in South America is quite pricey. But every time we're there, we really appreciate the fans for coming out. So it's the least we could do to be there for our fans as well.
Cool. And some critics noted that with the Atlantic and its Cape of the Phoenix, Evergrey had created such a perfect safe harbor of melancholy that it risked becoming predictable. However, on Theories of Emptiness, the last album, we hear new textures, harsher vocals, even fan-led chants. How do you balance giving the fans the classic Evergrey they crave without feeling like you're just revisiting old traumas to keep the songwriting engine running?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. I think it's all about how we evolve as both as a band and as humans. It's music is all about creating personal, like it's about expressing your personal feelings, and I think that's the way that music naturally evolves, is that you evolve as a human being So even though, as you said, revisiting past traumas, basically, it's a little bit about that. So I feel like you evolve as a person, so you create new stuff, you create new sounds, you create new textures, but still that past stuff that has been there with you will always be there with you. So I think a lot of the stuff that you can make that kind of like sounds like the old Evergrey, it's still in a new suit, you know, it's still a new different texture to it because you have evolved. So even though it's revisiting stuff, it still has this new texture to it. You know, if it's the sound design, if it's the way you sing, you know, just Tom's voice has in both, I would say, improved and evolved through the years, you know. It's because it has a different flavor. So even though he sings the same songs that will, you know, at least in my personal opinion, when he sings A Touch of Blessing live now, it's like it has such a special impact because of the way his voice is now. And also, you know, King of Errors, I also think that's a song that he has really, with the voice that he has now, it's really something unique, really unique. And not that the original is bad or bad in any way. It just has a new flavor to it. There's a new texture to it, which I think is really, really special. So I think that's with the new album coming out now. I would say that the music has evolved because we have evolved as persons, and Tom has evolved, and Johan has evolved, Rickard has evolved. We have all evolved. I'm the new drummer in the band. It's the first album we do without Jonas, who has done a lot of the production, a lot of the pre-production. So, you know, we had Vikram as a producer on the album as well, or co-producer. And all of those flavors and all of the maturity and all of the stuff that we are bringing forward, I think that helps creating I know it helps creating these new textures. So I don't think we will ever revisit ourselves and do something that was similar 10 years ago, because it's not the way we are as humans anymore. And I take Architects of the New Weave, the song, as a good example, because for me, that's kind of like the most old school melancholic Evergrey that album has to offer. But I still think it's in a very new texture. It's nothing like, you know, In Search of Truth album or Recreation Day. It's nothing like it because the sound is different. We play different. We take different choices. But it still has that melancholic flavor to it. You know, it has that texture to it. But it's still very new Evergrey. So I think that's the way that it just naturally goes, that we evolve. And therefore the music evolve as well. Our feelings evolve. We are in different places in our life. I know at least I'm in a very different place in my life than I was just 5 years ago. You know, I've evolved as a human. Tom has evolved as a human. Everyone has evolved as human, both feeling-wise, personal-wise. And that's just the way it is. That's why music always evolve.
And it is interesting that many critics also say that the recent, even with the last album, Evergrey is almost entirely dependent on Tom's voice. That without his wounded style, vocal style, the riffs would just be metal. Do you feel that this is something you feel as well, even as a new drummer in the band? And is there a pressure to constantly stay in touch with the pain when it comes to voice, to keep this identity of the band alive? Or did the band learn to write about the darkness from a place of light?
Again, very good question. I like this. It's very good questions. I mean, I personally, I love Tom's voice. I think that he has a way of singing and writing lyrics that is what really makes Evergrey unique, you know, because a lot of bands have a Tom in their band, you know, where it's very unique vocals and but the music is very different. Then it's like, you know, maybe more doom or even darker. And I think that's what makes Evergrey very unique, that we have this very wounded, nice vocals from Tom, but we put below it, it's something different. So definitely, I think that's what makes Evergrey's sound unique. And I wouldn't necessarily say that we are dependent on it, but I mean, there would be no Evergrey without Tom Englund. That's just a fact. And I think that the way he writes songs and the way he writes lyrics, it's something that I've never experienced in any other band that I've been with. The way that he does it and the process behind it as well. So I think, and now as I said, we are evolving as humans, and I think that everyone in the band are in better places than they have ever been. But it doesn't mean that we don't still have the stuff that happened to us long ago. It's still relevant, you know. And I think on this new album there is a song that is very catchy and very poppy, but the lyrics and you will hear a new version of Tom, the way he sings. It's very uplifting. It's a Tom you've never heard before, I would say, but the lyrics is extremely dark. So it's you know it's a contrast there, which is very cool, and I think that's again what makes Tom's writing so unique. It's like the most happy song you never heard Evergrey sound that happy in your life. It's a fantastic song, but the lyrics are pitch dark. So it's yes.
So you are already working on a new album then?
Oh, this is the album that's coming in June.
Oh, okay.
So yes, so we have the new album coming out in June 5th.
The Brazilian audience is known for an explosive outward passion with contrast with the introspective, cold nature of Swedish dark metal.
Yep.
Why do you think Evergrey's aesthetic of suffering resonates so deeply here to the point where you transitioned from an opening act to a consolidated staple in festivals like Bangers Open Air?
Wow. Again, Marcus, you have the best questions. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really like these questions. No, I mean, I spoke about this a little bit in an earlier interview today. You know, especially in Brazil, you have this culture of celebration. You know, you have the carnivals, you have the music, but all of this, like all of music in general, comes from a place of expressing your feelings and expressing your true emotions. All of the feelings that you're afraid to talk about, you know, that it's too hard to talk about it. It's too hard to do anything about it. So it comes out in form of art. And I think that especially metal in general, and maybe Evergrey as a specific band, that it's something that resonates a lot with people, but it's not a cult. That's not necessarily a culture to talk about it, you know, to express those feelings that you have for yourself and like all of the dark thoughts that a lot of humans have and all of the bad stuff that we experience in this life that we are afraid to talk about, but that we can unite together with in music, you know, because it's a medium to understand someone else. Through this song I understand that someone else feels the same that I do, but I didn't have to be the one expressing it, you know. So I think it's I'm not saying that it's necessarily in Brazil, but I think maybe a lot of people there have a lot of stuff on their heart and on their mind that they have trouble and doesn't have an open forum to talk about and express, and it get expressed through music. And I mean, I'm just speaking from my personal opinion here and how it's in my life, that music has been like an outlet for me to really give all of my true emotions life, you know, both it's on music that I listen to and music that I make. I give my true emotion life. So I think maybe that's a good way of saying it, that the Brazilian fans can unite in their emotions through Evergrey's music.
Such a beautiful answer.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
And my last question is still about Theory of Emptiness, because
Yes.
this is the last album I listened to.
Yes.
Um, with Theories of Emptiness, it feels like the title, at least, it feels like the closing of a circle, um, of that perhaps began all the way back with In Search of Truth.
Yes.
14 albums exploring the void. Have you finally found an answer, or is it the beauty of Evergrey simply in accepting that the void will never be truly be filled?
Yes and no. Yes, I think we have found a way. That's the yes question. But it will still always be there. That's what I think. It will still always be there. But I mean, the last album was Fear of Emptiness, and as I said, on this album, we have a new song called "Leaving the Emptiness." So it's a, and that's as I said, the song that's the most poppy and most happy, but it still has a very, very dark lyric to it. But I think, as I said, everyone is evolving. And when we are evolving as humans, our personal lives are evolving. I think everyone in this band is at a place in their life where it's never been better. It's both from, for many, many, many reasons. But still what we have with us will always be there. So I think Theory of Emptiness is kind of like a transition now, as you stated, like it's a transition to maybe now we can finally try to leave that stuff behind us. But now there's so much other stuff going on in the world now that it's absolutely crazy. Like we are, yeah, it's when one thing gets left behind, something new shows up, right?
It's interesting when you think about sadness and how the weight of the world keeps telling us, look, it can be darker.
Yes.
I've talked to a band called Immolation. It's a death metal band from the United States, and
Yes.
they gave up on writing about the dogma of the Christianism
Yeah.
because humanity has already failed.
Exactly.
So it's interesting that you have now things that, at least lyrics that talk about how humanity has already lost the war against themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you
100%.
do you think that this in the future will be more a subject explored by Evergrey than more the sadness itself?
I think we have already with this new album coming out, and I'm very much looking forward to hearing what you think about it when it comes out and reading the lyrics. I think we have already explored that. So the next single that's coming out very, very soon, I won't say which date, but just around the corner, when you see the title for that video, you will understand exactly what I'm saying now.
Awesome, Simon. I
Yes,
must go.
you,
Thank you so much for your time
of
now. I
course,
must leave. Thank you so
have a
much
good,
for your time.
of
See you
course,
on
buddy.
Bangers.
See
Bye,
you in
man.
Bangers. Have a good one. Thank you, buddy.
Bye bye.